On October 21st, Women of Influence from Toronto is hosting their first Spotlight event here in Kelowna. It is Finding Your Passion, and there will be 3 panelists that will be speaking at the event. Today we had Jill White from Waterplay pop into the studio and give us a peek into the window of her journey, and we're looking forward to hearing more from her on Monday the 21st. So today we are joined by Jill White, President of Waterplay Solutions. Thank you very much for joining us, Jill. We appreciate you coming in.
Thanks for the invite, Nikki.
Oh, you're very welcome. So I normally ask lots of questions about the business because I'm so curious about your journey and your path. I'm going to try really hard to keep it in 10 minutes or less. But you are one of the panelists that are sitting in for a Women of Influence Spotlight event, first ever of its kind to come to Kelowna from Toronto. What do you think about that?
You know more than I do about it, actually. I didn't know it was the first time it was here. I got a LinkedIn request from one of the CEOs of Women of Influence, just asking if I'd be interested in joining the panel, and said I think it was talking about finding your passion, and kind of thought, why not?
That's excellent. The event is October 21st, and as you said, it's I didn't even make the connection. It's the same time as our federal election, right. So really hoping, I understand they've got a really good turnout of ticket sales already, so hope the room is full. I think you have a tremendous amount of knowledge and wisdom and experience to share, so I'm hoping there will be a great turnout. So Jill, there's not a lot of information on you on the internet, and one of the things that I came across was the purchase of the company out of Penticton in 2004. And I couldn't help but wonder, did you get out of bed and say, I'm gonna find a company to purchase, or how did that come?
It was I get asked the question a lot of times, and I often say I got lucky in some regards. I had a mentor of some sorts who I had always been sending him ideas for businesses that I wanted to own. He was a tax advisor here in Kelowna, and so I would send him ideas, and he would always phone me or email me back and say, that's a horrible idea, it's never going to work. And then one day I was coming out of a meeting with him, and he had a catalog, a Waterplay catalog, and he just handed it to me, and he said, this is a company that I work with, and they're looking for some new energy, or an investor, or maybe someone to buy them out. And I was lucky that he thought of me, and it just kind of happened from there. That was, I think, early January 2004, and by the end of July the transaction completed. So yeah,
I love that. So you are from an entrepreneurial family, mm-hmm. So it wasn't foreign to you.
No.
There's challenges, certainly starting a company or buying a company. Was there ever a time that you were nervous?
All the time.
That you could, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's like anything in life. You don't want to fail at anything, and you're worried that maybe you're not making the right decision, and sometimes I always try to stay focused on the long term. Not make short-term decisions, mm-hmm. And so far, that's done us well, to date. But yeah, there's lots of times when I'm nervous about decisions I've made, and what can you do but stay the course and have good advisors, I think, to help you out along the way too.
So again, reading some of the information on the internet, you have installed over 10,000 projects?
Well, certainly I haven't myself, but
Sure.
yeah, the three businesses that kind of form the Waterplay group of companies have been involved in over 10,000 projects in over 30 years, and I've been involved for 15 years of those.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it's very cool to be that impactful around the world and be able to go and see places that you've had a part of helping develop. Again, lucky, right? Very lucky.
I can't even imagine. Again, through the chamber world, we're having a conversation around the importance of parks and how important they are for connection and community and for just health of family and that outdoor activity. So to think that I could pass you in a restaurant and you've impacted so many children and families around the world, that's pretty neat.
It's very cool. We talk about it almost every day at work. You know, it is kind of our purpose statement. We know that what we do is so much more than put posts in the ground. It really is about developing community and children and making connections and, you know, social inclusion and diversity and acceptance around the world. So it's, you know, Parks and Rec is a really, really important part of a society.
So something else that jumped out at me that was different about you, and when I'm reading a LinkedIn bio, it's first person I, or it's she, but in everything you wrote it was we. And that's interesting. That's unique, I think. So I get to sit down with 200-300 businesses a year, and it really stood out to me. Your team that you've built, there's a lot of reference around we. So you do seek the advice and the support and the opinion of your team?
Absolutely, yeah. Nice observation. Thanks for noticing. I work with a lady who, I remember we were at a business function somewhere, and I introduced her, and she said, you know, that one of the things she likes about me is I will never say, you know, this is so-and-so, she works for me, right? It's always I work with them. It's never a me. It's not about me. I don't celebrate the me, but I definitely celebrate the we, and it's very purposeful.
Where did that come from? Jill, is that?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's very much appreciated. It's
well, and I appreciate it in return, right? You know, like it's a two-way street. So it's very much, I guess maybe sometimes when I feel nervous, I don't have to feel as nervous because not always just my decision. It is ours.
So the business, when you purchased the business in 2004, did you plan to have this continued success or this much of an impact in the space that you operate, or how are you where you are today?
I think that my purpose in the business has evolved over the years. Certainly when I first bought it, it was about the numbers. It was about thinking, you know, really big, and yeah, we could be, you know, $100 million in sales by such and such a date and all these things, whereas now it is more purpose-driven than numbers-driven. And so when I bought it, my vision was a little bit different in the goals I was setting, I guess, than they are today. But again, growing up in an entrepreneurial family, large numbers didn't scare me. Like, I knew that they could be a reality, and I knew that it was achievable and attainable. So it was kind of all I had known. So it didn't scare me in that sense to set pretty lofty goals. I'd say that when I look at just numbers, I'm probably not where I wanted to be when I first bought the company in this time. But I'm certainly in a place where I get more satisfaction out of just what we do, rather than focusing on the number of sales.
So that's fascinating. Where do you rank in your competitive landscape? Where does Waterplay?
It's hard to answer that question because we're all privately owned. We would be It's hard to say. There's a couple niche manufacturers who specialize in stainless steel products, and that's what the space that we're in.
Okay.
And we would be in the middle of the pack for
Okay.
that. And then there's some really large corporations out there that are in bigger projects than we get involved, where they do full-on water parks, and they're 10 times the size that we are. But within our kind of niche group, we're kind of middle of the pack. Maybe the top of the bottom of the top third, potentially.
Is there, is it unique to have a woman at the helm?
In our industry, yeah, it's a bit strange that there's a lot of, relatively speaking, there's a lot of Canadian companies in the aquatic space, but I would be the only female owner, as far as I know. There used to be a couple that owned one of the larger playground manufacturers in the world, and they have since, she's unfortunately since passed away, and they sold to their employees, but I think her and I might have been the only females in the Parks and Rec kind of playground space.
So that's leads me into the Women of Influence evening. The panel will have yourself, Jennifer from Oxygen Fitness and Yoga, or Yoga and Fitness, and all of the franchises that she's opened across Canada. And then Allison Grafton with Rockhouse Custom Homes. And it's an opportunity for people to ask, obviously, questions about following your passion. And would your passion have been in the entrepreneurial space? Like if it wasn't Waterplay, it would have been something else?
It would have been something that had a bit of a creative side to it. I wouldn't be happy in just strictly a commodity space. For whatever reason, I'm a little bit more drawn to something that's got a bit more creativity to it in it.
Some fun.
Yeah, some personality and some fun. I think that, I didn't start out obviously thinking that this was the business I was going to be in, but I just knew it had to be something maybe a little different.
So the products and services, is there also a division within Waterplay that creates new things? Are you into development of water?
Yeah, so we have a whole
Toys?
engineering team.
Okay.
And we work with our creative director who's based out of Germany. And we design and develop new products and bring them to market. And when you ask, how we rank in the industry, I would think in terms of product development, we would be first. In terms of size, we'd be, in the kind of the top third. But we've got some pretty great engineers and designers that we work with, and bring some very cool stuff to market.
So have you had to, and please don't feel you have to answer the question, but I'm curious through the lens of women, we're traditionally more conservative in what we think we can do or what we can achieve, and maybe our tolerance on risk or perceived risk and financing. Have you been able to grow the company through revenues, or have you had to have that moment where you had to put it all on 33 black? have you had?
I haven't had to do the 33 black. We've been fortunate that we're in a growing market. Our product is relatively new, and so we've been able to just organically grow through the years. But we just undertook a new expansion of our fabrication facility and built a new office building.
Congratulations.
Thanks. And it, building costs in Kelowna are not cheap, so it's at least 2.5 times more than I wanted to spend. And the decision was, go, no go, and there was a couple, stop checks right along the way where we just said, okay, do we keep going, or do we just say, look, this is enough? And so I guess, there's a little bit of a gamble in that sense.
Sure.
That, we built ahead of the growth curve that we're expecting to come. Not so much so that we're really at risk, but it can just be a little bit daunting sometimes when you look at the financing requirements that we've just gone through. So
Congratulations. Good for you.
thanks.
So really excited to join you on October 21st, and I can't wait to see the questions that come from the audience, and look forward to hearing from you then.
Well, and I look forward to meeting the other ladies on the panel and seeing, hearing about their journey too.
Thanks, Jill.
Thank you.